Today we are going to deal with family Combretaceae. It is again one of the important family or region. You might have been seen this flower in our campus in front of our department, Combretum indicum or Quisqualis indica. Again, this family belongs to Phanerogamia, as the flowers are there in class Dicotyledone, two cotyledons in the seed. Subclass Polypetalae, where petals are free in the flowers. Is Calyciflorae, and order Myrtles, family Combretaceae. Flowers are pentamerous, where calyx, corolla are in the number of 5. Sepals and petals are in the 5, and they are normally in volvate. They are just connate to one another. Aestivation is volvate aestivation. Petals are small and sometimes absent in some members. Stamens may be double in number, that is 10, normally in 2 series. It is monocarpellary, carpel 1, normally inferior, and it is unilocular. Fruits 2 to 5 angled. So this fruit you can observe here. It is also a common plant in our region. Normally we know it as a badam. So that is also in our region, that is Terminalia catapa. So here you can observe that here. So here there is a structure, a capitate type of the stigma is there, and it is the receptacular tube which is represented by the hairy outgrowth sometimes. Tannin containing cells occur throughout the family, and because of that many plants have used to tan the leather or coloring the leathering industry. So here you can use that for tanning purposes. It is a pericarp of the fruit which aids the color. You might have been observed that when this flower matures, so it takes a violet or purplish color. So that is due to tannin present in the epicarp of the fruit. These are some of the common plants which are observed in our region. That is Anogesus latifolia. It is a big tree. These are the flowers you might have been observed. And tree having a cluster of winged fruits. Winged fruits are just like wings are present on the fruits. Here you can observe these are the fruits of Terminalia arjuna. So here normally we know it as arjun, and its fruits and bark is used for the medicinal purpose. Normally it is observed around the banks of the rivers. The common large woody, it is a Combretum. So here this Combretum genus is quite widely distributed in our India, and it is very common in everywhere. Another one is the Quisqualis indica. This particular inflorescence, it is just in front of our department. It is commonly known as Rangoon creeper, and the flowers are white, but gradually it turns pink at the day end, we can say. So two color of flowerings can be observed in the Rangoon creeper, that is Quisqualis indica. When we talk about the habit and habitat, the mainly in this family we observe the large trees. They may be actually large shrubs, and sometimes subscandent or the climbers can be observed. This Combretaceae, or we can say the Combretum family, the Terminalia is the great genus where we can find Terminala have about 18 genera all over the family. There are 18 genera and 500 species in this family Combretaceae. The large the Combretum, and it is having about 370 species. This is one of the great family having the great genera like Combretum, where the around 70% of the species belonging to the single genus, that is Combretum. And another genus is the Terminalia, which may be having around 200 species distributed all over the world. When we talk about the root, as most of the plants are trees or climbers, the deep taproot system is there. Stems are erect. They are normally hard and woody, Here one of the example is given, that is terminally Arjuna with the bark. So it is a sturdier wood, stem is present, and it may be found weaker stems in the subscandent species like the Rangoon creeper. Those are climbers. Leaves are normally simple. They are entire, alternate, or maybe opposite in some genera, and they are normally ex-stipulate. So stipules are absent in this family. When we talk about the inflorescence in the family, it is a typical inflorescence, that is a raceme type of the inflorescence is there. So in the racemose inflorescence, we know that the younger flowers are at the top and the older flowers are at the base. It is an indeterminate type of the inflorescence where we can find the continuous growth of the apical end is there, and because of that we call it as a racemose inflorescence. But this is not a raceme, which is a simple raceme, not observed in this family, but instead of that we find in most of the members, it is a compound type of the inflorescence. It may be called paniculate inflorescence, globose inflorescence. Such of the branch type of the racemose inflorescences can be observed in this family. Flowers are normally actinomorphic. Here you can observe most of the members having such type of the 5 petal, 5 sepal flower, and it is actinomorphic, rarely zygomorphic. Bisexual flower is there, that is the hermaphrodite in nature. Sometimes unisexual, and due to the abortion of the one of the reproductive structure, it may be Androecium or Gynoecium. In such cases, the flower becomes a unisexual flower. All the other whorls are the mostly epigynous in condition, and floral axis is carried about the ovary, forming a tube. So this is the typical floral characteristic of the family Combretaceae. Here you can observe the various type of the inflorescences we are trying to show here. This is a raceme, but it is developed on only one side. Lower side doesn't show the presence of flower. So unilateral type of the inflorescence is there, but the typical raceme is there. Older flowers are at the base and younger flowers are at the apex. Here also we find it is a typical raceme where the older flowers are at the base. It is a complete bloom inflorescence, and as there are multiple inflorescences at the apex, so we can call them as a paniculate type of the inflorescence now, or the branched inflorescences. Here a little bit close up is shown where you can find the actual structure of the flower. Here you can find buds and the flower structure is there. Here you can observe that there were not presence of the calyx. So sometimes it may be deciduous, and because of that it may not be observed in that. This is a common plant in our region, that is kadamba. You might have been observed, and it is the kadamba, Anthocephalus kadamba is there. It is normally in this flower, calyxes are sepals 4 to 5, tetra or pentamerous flower is there. Very rarely we find more than 5 petals will be there, and they united to form a calyx, a smaller calyx tube at the base because of the adnation or conation at the base, and it is encircling the ovary, or it may be produced beyond it, because ovary is normally inferior in this family. They are volvate in aestivation and they may be persistent. Then Corolla petals are usually small, as many as sepals, and alternating with them, either volvate or imbricate, and aestivation sometimes absent, or imbricate aestivation is there, and petals may be absent in many genera, that is the polypetalous condition is there. About the Androecium, Androecium is nothing but the stamens or the male reproductive structures in the family. Stamens are normally 4, 5, 8 or 10. They may be vary genera to genera. More than 10 is the rare condition in this family, and they are normally double in the number, normally 10 in the number, or filaments, we can say they are curved inward, and anthers are bitheous in condition, were versatile in most of the members. Stamens, when they are in two whorls, they are often off-diplostamens. So here you can observe that clear structure of the flower. These are the stamens in two whorls. When the flower is pentamerous, 5 petals are there. So the stamens are also 5 and in two whorls. So this is the inner whorl where we can find the 5 stamens, and this is the outer whorl where we can find the 5 stamens. Total stamen number is 10. And here you can observe that the stamen having the filament and connective is attached at the back of that anther cells. There are 2 anther cells. So bitheous stamen is there, and anther cells are versatile in distribution. They are not just connate in the normal condition. Anther cells are separate from one another and they are versatile in the movement. So here you can also find the another structures that the Androecium and the Corolla members. So here Androecium is there. Then Gynoecium. Gynoecium is monocarpellary. Single ovary is there and it is one-celled structure. Normally it is angled. Just we have seen the angled fruit in Terminalia catapa or in Terminalia arjuna. 5 angled or wing type of the fruit is developed from this type of the ovary. They are actually in equal number and alternating with the calyx segments. जेवढे calyx segments असतील, जेवढे calyx sepals असतील, 4 असतील किंवा 5 असतील. So at that time, either it is 4 or 5, that many number is the angles present on that gynoecium. Ovules 2 to 5, they are rarely more. Normally it is anatropous, pendulous ovule is there from most of the from top of the ovary on the long. Often united in the funicles. Style is one long filiform bearing a pointed, or we can say the capitate type of the stigma on the end, and receptacle tube bears a disc. So which is sometimes hairy. So here you can observe the hairs present on the receptacular disc. Here this is the gynoecial, that is the style, and stigma is simple, not capitate, but in most of the members we can see that this type of the capitate stigma is also present, but the receptacular disc of the ovary is, in most of the cases we find it is a hairy structure. So this is about the gynoecium in the family Combretaceae. When we talk about the fruit, it is normally a leathery. You just try to remind the fruit of that Terminalia catapa, बदामाचं जे fruit आहे ते डोळ्यासमोर आणा. It is leathery, one-seeded, drupe, having angled or winged pericarp. जे outermost whorl त्याचं जे आहे, epicarp, mesocarp and pericarp. So normally they are angled, and the epicarp, the leathery outcoat is a leathery type, and most of the times it yields the tannin or colors from that. Seeds are normally non-endospermic and spirally twisted cotyledons present in the family. Pollination is entomophilous. Here you can observe that the honeybee visits the flower for the honey, as receptacular disc and nectary glands were present at the base. So it is entomophilous type of the pollination found in this family Combretaceae. Here you can find the floral characters, that is floral diagram and floral formula. Here you can find flower is tetra to pentamerous. It is actinomorphic because all the petals are similar in size. So flower is actinomorphic. Then bisexual flower, where Androecium and Gynoecium is there, but we just discussed that there may be the unisexual flowers in some members where there is the degeneration of one of the reproductive structures, that is Androecium or Gynoecium. So calyxes are 4 to 5, more normally penta to tetramerous condition is there. They are united at the base and forms a cup-like structure. So they are fused in the bracket they are shown here. Corollas also, it is tetra to pentamerous. but they are free, as this is the member of polypetally. Petals are free here. Sometimes corolla may be 0 because calyx is persistent. Whatever we observe in most of the cases, it is the calyx condition, and in some members we can find corolla is also absent. Then androecium, normally as many as, that is 8 to 10 number is there, and here you can find that they are free and in normally 2 whorls. So normally 8 to 10 condition is there. Gynoecium is semi-inferior or inferior in position, and it is 1. Because of that we can't say that it is the syncarpus or fused ovary, because only one ovary is there. Here we can observe the floral diagram of the same family. It is the representative diagram. So here you can find these are all sepals. Outer wall represent the sepals, where these are connate. They have shown the fusion, and this fusion is nothing but the forming a cup-like structure. Here in Combretum you can find that this is the inferior ovary, and this is the calyx tube has been developed here. So here you can observe that these are the fused structures of the calyx. When there are the petals are normally similar in size. They are not attached or connate to one another, adnate to one another. So they are polypetalous, free, and stamens are in 2 whorls. Here you can find the 10 stamens in 2 different whorls. It has been shown. So this type of the condition, here we can say the stamens are obdiplostaminous. Normally they are opposite. One of the layer is opposite, one of the whorl is opposite to the petals. So obdiplostaminous condition is also observed in the family Combretaceae. Normally the fruit is angled. This is the tiers of ovary, where we can say it is unilocular structure, and normally they are angled. So angles are formed due to the number of calyx. As many as the calyx is there, so that many angles are formed on the ovary or fruit of the Combretaceae members. Here the common example we have shown. This common example is of the Combretum, that is the Quisqualis indica or Combretum indica. Here this is the flowering branch of that particular inflorescence. Inflorescence, as we studied, a racemose type of the inflorescence is there, but because of the branch structure, we can say that it is the panicle formation is there. So racemose panicle type of the inflorescence here is there. This is the typical flower. When we separate one flower from this inflorescence, inferior ovary is there, calyx tube, and these are the corolla members. Here, when we talk about the LS of the flower, here you can observe the ovary, unilocular ovary. This is style passing through the calyx tube. Then, this is the corolla tube, and this corolla tube passing through the corolla formation is there. Here we can see that the calyx is almost deciduous, and because of that, it is not present here. Then here we can see the petals which are free here. So here in this condition we can find that when it is the corolla tube. So corolla tube formation means itself a gamopetalous condition is there, but it is rare. In most of the members, petals are free are there. So when we talk about the androeciums are normal. They are bithecous, having the long filament, and filament is attached on the back of the anthers. That is it is not basifixed. So here is the dorsifixed condition is observed in the anther cells, and anthers are movable, so that we can say the versatile anthers are there. They are bithecous. Gynoecium is simple. It is unilocular. Sometimes pendulous ovules are there, or orthotropous ovules are there. Here pendulous condition is there, long filament is there, and stigma may be simple or capitate. Fruit is mostly angled structure, which normally observed in the family Combretaceae. Having 2 major genera, that is Combretum and Terminalia. Most of the members of this family are normally used, particularly this genus Terminalia catapa, normally known as jungly badam. Actually, edible badam is different. It is also known as the kadu badam. Sometimes it may be taste in bitter, and because of that it is kadu badam. So it is Terminalia catapa, and this is planted in our campus. These fruits are purplish to violet in color at maturity, and normally they are green in color, having two angles on that. So such type of the fruits are there, and because of that it can be edible. So it is the falls under the category food. Many members are medicinal, particularly the Terminalia genus. When we talk about the bark of Terminalia अर्जुनारिस्ट आपल्याला माहित आहे. तर अर्जुन is the medicinal plant which normally used for various disorders. It is one of the ingredient also of Triphala also. So it is used as a cardiac tonic. It builds our heart. So it is as known as the cardiac tonic. And most of the feminine diseases, जे महिलांचे काही प्रॉब्लेम्स असतात तर त्याच्यासाठी सुद्धा आपण त्रिफळा चूर्ण कॉमनली रिकमेंड केल्या जाते, अर्जुनारिस्ट रिकमेंड केल्या जाते. सो इट इज फॉर द कार्डियक अँड फेमिनाइन डिसीजेस. Then Terminalia tomentosa, Terminalia paniculata, Terminalia angustifolia, and Terminalia corica, and Terminalia glabra are some of the other useful species from the genus Terminalia, which may be used for the purpose of medicine. Most of them are astringent and administered as a purgative, and also in dropsy, diarrhea, piles, leprosy, and cough. तर अतिसार असू द्या, मूळव्याध असू द्या, किंवा कोड येणं असू द्या, अंगावर खोकला असू द्या, अशा बहुतेक आजारांवर किंवा ताप येणं असू द्या, अशा सगळ्या आजारांवर आपल्याला टर्मिनालिया हा जीनस इथं काम करताना दिसतो. हिअर टर्मिनालिया बेलरिका, त्याला आपण बेहाडा म्हणतो, हा टर्मिनालिया अर्जुना, आणि हा टर्मिनालिया चिबुला. तर अशा पद्धतीचं हे आपले तीनही टर्मिनालियाचे फोटोग्राफ आणि त्याचे फळं. आजही तुम्हाला जर अर्जुन आणि हिरडा बेहाडा जर मागायचा असेल तर तुम्ही जर बारापुड्याच्या दुकानात गेलं तर ही फळं अशा पद्धतीची असतात हे आपल्याला माहीत असलं पाहिजे. सो दीज आर द मेडिसिनल प्रॉपर्टीज. टर्मिनालिया बेलरिकालाच आपण बेहाडा म्हटलेला आहे, आणि टर्मिनालिया चिबुलाला आपण हरच म्हटलेला आहे, म्हणजे हरिद्रा. हरिद्रा नाही, हिरडा. तर हा हिरडा, बेहाडा आणि अर्जुन, तर ह्या तीनही वनस्पती आपल्या परिसरात, आपल्या जंगलामध्ये भरपूर प्रमाणात मिळतात. Then it is Terminalia belerica constitute one of the morobalance, that is an adhesive which is of the commercial use. So these are the flowers of Terminalia belerica, and this is another one from where we can exude the gum. The gum exuding from the trunk of Androecium latifolia. नॉर्मली आपण जो डिंक आता याच्यामध्ये वापरतो लाडू करण्यासाठी पांढऱ्या रंगाचा, तो डिंक Androecium latifolia पासून आपल्याला मिळालेला असतो. अँड इट इज ऑल्सो युज्ड फॉर द प्रिंटिंग पर्पज. द पेपर सायझिंग अँड कन्फेक्शनरी मध्ये सुद्धा त्याचा वापर केला जातो. ऑर्नामेंटल मध्ये हा रंगून क्रीपर आपण इथे घेतलेला आहे. आता ऑर्नामेंटल मध्ये सगळेच फ्लावर त्याचे सुंदर असल्यामुळं मोस्ट ऑफ द प्लांट्स आर युज्ड ॲज अ ऑर्नामेंटल ऑल्सो, ऑर वी कॅन से द रोड साईड प्लांटिंग. अशा साठी सुद्धा एन्व्हायरमेंटल इम्पॅक्ट साठी सुद्धा त्याचा एस्थेटिकेशन साठी वापर केला जातो. बट मोस्ट ऑफ द मेंबर्स आर हॅव्हिंग द ब्युटिफुल स्ट्रक्चर, सो दे कॅन बी प्लांटेड इन द गार्डन्स ॲज ऑर्नामेंटल स्पीशीज. Most popular is the Quisqualis indica, that is a rangoon creeper. Terminalia arjuna, arjun vruksha. It is Bucida, Combretaceae, and these are mostly planted in the gardens for their medicinal as well as we can say the beautiful flower. Many plants are timber, as most of the members from this family are having the tree habit. So hardwood is obtained from the Terminalia bilatta and Terminalia belerica, which is used for the preparation of cabinet work, or we can say the furniture for internal fittings. So here you can observe the Terminalia bilatta and Terminalia belerica. In the forest, on the basis of their bark pattern, it can be easily recognized. Whereas this Terminalia arjuna has the smooth bark, but Terminalia bilatta and Terminalia belerica have the rough with vertical streaks on the stem bark. So such type of the conditions are there. And fruits of these plants, particularly Terminalia alata, Arjuna, and Terminalia chibula, where these are used for the tanning purpose, for the coloration or tanning of the leather. So here, because they eats the dye from the epicarp, fruit epicarp produces the coloration, and because of that, this is used for the dyeing the leather or the tanning the leather. When we talk about the affinity of this family, normally Bentham and Hooker and also Hutchinson place this family in the group Myrtles, order Myrtles, while Engler included this particular family in the suborder Myrtini of the Myrtiflori, and Taktajan, Tonquist, and Thorne, these are also other recent workers. They have placed this Combretaceae under the Myrtles itself, where the Bentham and Hooker also placed it in the Myrtles. The Combretaceae shows the close resemblance with the Rhizophoraceae. आता Rhizophoraceae family कुठली आहे? It is again the family having the inferior ovary and also resembles the Myrtaceae. This family is normally found in the coastal areas. It is also having the inferior ovary and calyx and corolla. So this is about the affinity of the family.